What's up, party people? It's your boy Hakim Green. Oh, I think I know what's going on here. There we go. There we go. Now we in the building. Now we rocking. What's up, y'all? Man, I got a hot show set up for you guys today. I got a phenomenal show set up today. Absolutely. I was trying to set this off the right way. Let me see if I could do this correctly. Because you know, I'm a huge dancer. Like, dance is my life. Well, was my life. When we talk about the culture and what the culture means, I got introduced to the culture more or less through dance music. You know, I'm from East Orange, New Jersey. And when you come up in Jersey, North Jersey especially, dance music is extremely important. So let me see if I could just run this. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Let me see. Bear with me, guys. My guest is in the building. Shedrick, Guy, music producer who just dropped a phenomenal single called Something's Wrong. And in my opinion, it's like right on time for the current state of the world, you know, right on time. So let me see if I can get this together. This is just, okay, stop screen. There we go. Okay. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to work it. But I just want to give you a peek at how important the quote unquote culture is to your boy.
Yo, who's the next contestant who will win? From Jersey. Ooh. Jersey in the house. Hakim Green. Yo, wait up. Clark, put that same song again. Bag your mind. You did a mistake. Put the same song again. All right? Thank you.
Hear me? Cut that rug.
My attention on you. What I'm gonna do you. Come here, little girl. I want to use you.
For me? Shedrick, peace, God, peace, big bro.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. You know, I had to start the show off right there because, you know, for my era, y'all probably like an era or two after you. But for my era, Club Kilimanjaro's, Hard House, big shout out to DJ Basil, big shout out to Mansky, rest in peace, Voodoo Ray forever. And the DJ at that moment was DJ Clark Kent, God's favorite DJ. Rest in peace, DJ
That's
Clark.
my dude.
Yeah, man. You know, so, you know, the culture, as it were, back in the late 80s, early 90s, you know, was, you know, dance music was extremely important, you know. Now, you know, we call it house music. In Jersey, we call it club music.
Exactly.
Dance music is basically, you know, the kind of the battery in everybody's back, you know, I was born in '69. Hip hop was born in 1973, though we know it existed before then. But up through the '70s, disco, was the soundtrack for a lot of our lives. And coming out of the '70s, there was a big movement by the mainstream white establishment to crush disco. And, in terms of the mainstream exposure, they were kind of successful. But dance music lived.
Mm-hmm.
And it lived in some, key places. So we just want to get into the history of it all. And we also want to get into your history as a DJ, music producer.
No, never was a DJ.
Oh, never was a DJ?
Never was a DJ. I'm a musician, not a DJ.
There you go. A musician. Yeah. So, right off top, tell us where you're from and, what inspired you to get the music bug.
Okay, I was born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, Big Towers. From there, music was in my family. My grandmother, she was the piano player for all the churches down in Georgia, in Southwest Georgia. So when I would go to Georgia, the piano that she practiced on was in the room I slept in. So I would get my grandmother to show me things. One of the first songs she showed me was "Going Up to Yonder" on the piano. And because my brothers and my sister, they was not musical at all. I was the only one that was musical. And then from there, when we come home from the summer, I would, beg my mother to give me music lessons. And my first instrument was the trumpet. From there, I went on, and then I discovered the bass. And in high school, played bass. I was in the funkadelic, Parliament, Commodores, Slave, all that. That was what I was into. And I got introduced to dance music in the early 80s. I heard about this club in Newark, Zanzibar. So I wanted to see what the fuss was, right? Mm-hmm. And everything, plus I wanted to see some girls. Mm-hmm. So I made my way down to Zanzibar and walked into this club and heard all this music that I'd never heard before. I was like, what is this? Because like I said, I'm just an Earth, Wind and Fire, Parliament, all that, the funk stuff, right? But then I heard all this music that never stopped. And I was fascinated by this music. And I said, you know what? I could do this music. And that's what started my journey into dance music.
Yeah. Now you said early 80s Zanzibar. What year it was specifically?
Well, when I first went to Zanzibar, it was like in the 82.
Okay.
Like, when they first opened, in the first year when they first opened Zanzibar. And I got to know, some of the DJs in Zanzibar, like T. Scott, Larry Patterson, Tony Humphreys. So I being a musician, I wanted to know, how these guys, work. And like I said, I studied the music. I studied, the sounds and so on and so on. And then I progressed and, and went on to do my first record.
Which was
Off the Wall with Ace on Ace Beat Records with Paul Scott. It was me, Paul Scott, Stefan Johnson, and Ace Mungeon, who passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, we consider Ace like the godfather of the whole Jersey sound.
Really?
Yeah, because he was the first one to have he was the first Jersey dance music label, the first. Mm-hmm. Ace Beat. And then Ace Beat, and everything came after it. We did that first record in 85.
Got you. Now, I'm from East Orange, right up the road from Newark. Zanzibar, legendary establishment, no longer there. Mm-hmm. Got the Lincoln Motel, that was right there. And you know, I was a young child. You know, like you talking about 80. I was 11. You know, so I would hear the stories from my older cousins, aunts, uncles. You know, about Zans, going to the Zans, and of course you had BLS, KTU, and I don't know if Kiss FM was rocking at this time, but sometimes they would do live broadcast parties or tape parties from the Zanzibar, and you would catch it. Who were some of those early DJs at the Zanzibar that kind of set the tone?
T. Scott.
Okay.
Was
Yep.
one of the best DJs ever. Like when T. Scott was on, there was nobody better than T. Scott.
Really?
And then Larry Levan would play there on Wednesdays. And from Larry Levan, there was also the great Larry Patterson. Larry Patterson. See, these guys, they're different from the DJs of the day. They would set a story because they would start at like 12 o'clock at night and play till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. So these guys would take you on a journey with the music. Not like the DJs today. They just they'll play a song for like 2 minutes and then go on to the next song. Don't even give you a chance to even appreciate what the song is.
Yeah.
But yeah, those DJs, T. Scott, Larry Patterson, and then after that, Tony Humphries.
Tony Humphries. I was gonna ask you about Tony Humphries.
Yeah, Tony was instrumental in breaking some of my early first records. Like, I don't know if you ever remember a record called "I Need Somebody" by Keisha Jenkins.
Okay.
It was because of Tony that we got our deal with Profile Records, because we would what we would do is we would make 1/4-inch copies of our, because at the time our songs wasn't on record, so we would make 1/4-inch tapes and bring it down to Zanzibar and give it to Tony, T, or Larry, and they would play those 1/4-inches. That's like when Colonel Abrams released Attention, that was on a 1/4-inch tape. That wasn't a record; it was quarters that they was playing on the reel to reel. So we would take our 1/4-inch tapes down there, and I took a 1/4-inch of "I Need Somebody" that we did on Keisha Jenkins, and Claudia Cassetta was at Zanzibar at that time, and she heard the record, and yeah, that's the record. I need somebody. I want somebody. See, you did the homework.
Well, I'm listening to you talk and you're giving me the jewels. I was like, let me for the audience's benefit, let me show them what it is, let them hear what it is, so we get a sense of the sound, the cadence, because this conversation is going to go somewhere, and I want to establish certain, you know what I mean? I want people to,
So yeah, me and my partner Guy Vaughn, rest in peace, we did that record with Keisha, and like I said, we had the 1/4-inch, and Tony was playing it, and Claudia Cassetta from Profile was down there, and she said, "Whose record is this?" And she pointed at me and my partner Guy, and she said, "Those guys did that record." And right then and there, she pulled us to the side and said, "Look, I'm interested in signing that record to Profile." And and at the same time, we was doing me and Guy was doing a lot of stuff with Island 4th and Broadway at the same time, and they wanted the record. It was like a little bidding war for that.
A little bidding war going on.
Yeah, yes. Sylvia Rome at the time wanted the record too.
Legendary.
Atlantic. So we wind up going with Profile, and with Corey Robbins and Claudia, because we felt that they wanted the record more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And also on that record, Keisha, she was like 19, 18 years old when she did that record. And she did that record in one take.
Wow. Well, you can hear the soul dripping up off the vocals just from what I played on YouTube, like off rip. You just hear the soul. You hear that voice. So
actually, that record was I came up with that record by mistake.
The best records always come out by mistake. Yeah.
Do you remember Eddie Stockley?
No, like remember,
Okay,
I'm a few years younger than you now.
Eddie Stockley used to sing all the backgrounds with him and Kenny Bobian. They started with me and Guy, you know, doing all the backgrounds for us and everything. So me and Guy, we had a studio in the attic of this studio in East Orange called Ears. I don't know if you remember. It was on Meadow Street, right off of Dodge Street.
Okay, I know the area, of course.
Yeah, and we had a studio in the attic, and we was working on the song for Eddie. And what happened was Guy and Eddie, you know, they left and went to the store. So me and Keisha was just sitting in the studio, right? So I started playing that bass line on the keyboards, and I had a little drum part going at the same time. And Keisha kept saying, "I need somebody, I want somebody." I said, whoa, keep singing that. And I recorded it real quick. So then when Guy and Eddie came back, I played it for Guy, and Guy looked and said, "Well, wow, that's hot."
Organic.
Yeah.
That's how creativity comes together.
Exactly. And then the next day, me, Guy, and Keisha went and wrote the song out and recorded it, and the rest is history.
Wow. Nice. You've worked on a few other things too. Your imprint is on early dance music, not just with underground artists, but you've also done some work with some above ground artists as well, right?
Yeah, I did Shivani's Always There, with Capital. I did also, I just didn't do dance records. I did a freestyle artist called Pam Russo. She was a Latin freestyle artist, and she did the CoverGirl song "Show Me."
Oh Lord, that's one of my favorite joints of all time.
And that's Pam. She did that record.
Man, so I was big into freestyle too. Like between the years of 84 to like 89, 90, I was big into freestyle. And I'm glad you brought that up about your work on a freestyle project, because especially in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, you can go to Philadelphia, Connecticut, Quad State area actually, but there was a lot of intermingling of different cultures, different sounds, a lot of borrowing going on. So just, you know, in talking about early Jersey dance music, house music, talk about like the borrowing going on between hip hop, you know, dance music, freestyle, whether it's the engineers, the producers, or just a straight up, you know, mashups of sounds.
Yeah, like for instance, on the Pam Russo, it's a record that we did called "It Works for Me," and Lil Louis Vega remixed that record.
Yeah,
he did because at that time he was known for doing freestyle. So Island 4th and Broadway hired him to do the remix on it and everything like that. So you know, like you know, we was working with Louis, we was working with me and my partner Guy, because me and my partner Guy, we had a company called Fly Guy Productions, because his last name, his first name was Guy, and my last name was Guy. So that's how we, you know, became.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When things are organic, they just come together.
Yeah. Let me. I want to tell you a story about
Please.
that. Me and Guy, we was working. Guy was working with Grandmaster Flash in that studio Ears, right?
You know what I mean? See him there? Yeah. Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah, he's working with. They was doing the Bada Boom Bang album for Elektra, and the producer on that record was Larry Smith, right? So Larry,
the legendary, one of the
legendary Larry Smith, so
hip hop producers of all time.
Yeah. So when Guy introduced me to Larry, Guy said, "Yeah, this is my partner, Shedrick Guy," and Larry said, "And your name is Guy Vaughn, right?" He said, "Yeah." So he just gave us this look like, you know, like something fishy. So he invited me and Guy over to his house in Queens, right? So we get over to his house in Queens, and when we first walk in the door, his partner Fred Bugs was there. So he said, "Bugsy, I want you never guess what these guys' names is." He said, "This guy is supposed to be Cedric Guy. This guy's supposed to be Guy Vaughn," like that. And you know, guys from East Orange, right? So we was like, so they made us pull out our license to see, because Larry Smith was convinced that one of us made our name up.
Wow.
So we had to pull out our license. So then, so Guy and Bugsy was talking. Guy was like telling Bugsy, you know, I want to do a group. You know, I just don't want to, you know, be a producer. And I'm sitting over there saying, I ain't trying to be in no group like that. But, you know, Guy was, you know, he wanted to do a group one day, right? Mm-hmm. So one day, me and Guy, we're driving over to New York to a meeting with Island Records, right? And we're driving on 280, and we have the radio on, and Fred Buggs is on there. And Fred Buggs is saying, I want to send this record out to two guys. This is like 6, 7 months after that. We met with Fred. I want to send this record out to two guys from New Jersey that got the record out. Shedrick and Guy Vaughn. And we looked at each other like, what record did we make? Like that, right? So we look at each other, all of a sudden, he plays this record, Groove Me, Baby, Tonight, by Guy.
By Guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thought that was us.
Crazy. Right?
And we looked at each other and said, my partner Guy looked at me and said, did you make this record? I said, no, I didn't make it. I was thinking you made it. So, you know, so then like a few days later, I seen Bugsy at some event. I said, Bugs, that wasn't us. And he says, I know now. I know. You could have called me and told me.
Hey, but that's all right. That's all right. We still got the shout out. I have to say, Fred Buggs is one of the most genuine brothers.
Oh, I love Buggs, man. That's my dude.
That's my guy, man. He's so generous with information, knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always shown me love since like the late 80s. My cousin Toya Beasley was the program director.
I know Toya.
Yeah. So she was over at Kiss FM. Mm-hmm. That's how I got to meet Fred Buggs before the Channel Live fame. Right. But he's always been consistently just, you know, A+.
Buggs is a hip hop junkie.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
That's another thing. See, people associate me a lot with, you know, dance records or dance music, but you know, I was into hip hop. I was into everything. See, me and Guy, we was the kind of producers that could produce anything, mm-hmm. any genre of music, you know, because we was musicians.
Yeah.
Right? And you could you know, throw it as, you know, and we could do it. Mm-hmm. Like I remember Island, they had this group. They didn't have no up-tempo songs. They only had mid-tempo songs. And so the A&R guy, Bobby Gosson, rest in peace, he came to me and Guy and said, look, I need a record for this group. And I said, okay. So me and Guy went home to our studio and we recorded this song. We had Kenny Bobian come and do the demo.
Big shout
The next day we brought it back. And Bobby was like, this is it. This is a record I needed for them. And it was for this group called By All Means. Mm-hmm. That was on Island Records, and it became their first single.
Wow. So we earlier talked about the Zanzibar.
Right.
There's another very important spot in New York City called the Paradise Garage.
Yeah, right.
Right. And again, you know, I'm a baby. So I'm hearing the stories. Now, when does the Paradise Garage jump off? Like, what year does it open?
The Paradise Garage opened in the late 70s.
In the late 70s. And who was the house DJ?
Larry Levan.
Larry Levan from out the gate. Right.
From out the gate.
From Larry Levan. You're talking about 78, 79, mm-hmm. all the way up through the 80s. When I became old enough to actually sneak in still, because I was like 18. It was the last weekend. It's 1987.
Okay.
The last weekend at the Garage, I believe it was 87 or 86. Mm-hmm. But it was the last weekend. The thing about the Garage is that you had to have a membership.
Yep. You had to have a membership. Yeah.
The membership, I think the membership was $250 annual membership. Mm-hmm. And then you could have up to 2 guests with you. Was that the rules? Yep. See, I'm getting secondhand information. I need verification. I need confirmation.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. I never had a membership to the Garage because I didn't have to, because anytime I wanted to go to the garage, Larry Patterson would call over there and tell him, and put me on the guest list. And because Larry Patterson, Larry Levan, T. Scott, they was all like close, and also Frankie Knuckles. There's all very close, and I would tell Larry Patterson, because Larry Patterson is one of the most instrumental people in my life, in my musical career, because he got me my first entertainment lawyer. And most people don't even know this, but Larry Patterson was the one who booked all the DJs down in Zanzibar. You had to go through Larry Patterson in order to get to get a gig in Zanzibar. He's the one that recruited Tony Humphries, brought in David Morales, and so on and so on. He brought Larry Levan here on Wednesdays. So I never needed a membership, and I would go in there. Sometimes I would go with Larry Patterson. I would be in the DJ booth, right? Watching Larry Levan play, and I remember back then one of the things like the garage was our like Master Square Garden. So you wanted to get one of your acts to perform in the garage. If you did that, you did something. And I was fortunate to have an act that I produced perform in the garage, which was Hunter Hayes, Private Possession featuring Hunter Hayes, when they did the This Time and Are You With It? And Hunter turned the garage out.
And what year was this?
This was like 86.
86?
Yeah, it's like 86 when he did the garage and everything, and and I was like in my glory. I was like, I said I could rest now because I had to act at the garage.
Did the Paradise Garage. Now I want to spin it all the way back though, because like the whole concept of disco, right?
Yeah.
And what we know, disco was dance music of the 70s. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And then you got a place called like think of Studio 54. This time was a big celebrity, like the club in New York City. That was still 78, 79.
Yeah.
But then you got the Paradise Garage, you're telling me 78, 79. That's like just more authentic in the way they get down.
Yeah. See, I've been to both clubs before. I've been to Studio 54 and I've been to Zanzibar. Studio 54 was more for the celebrities, where you want to be seen, so on and so on. The garage is where you want to go sweat. For like Fridays were the straight nights, where it was for the straight people, but Saturday was the gay nights. And like the garage, it was like you just see like today you go to a party or a club, everybody's standing around looking at each other. You do that at the garage. You dance, you felt the music, you felt it in your soul. That sound system was killing. And like I said, the Studio 54, it was more, like rich white people, and so on and so on. But the garage was for people that really loved dance music.
Well, I'm trying to find something. The sound system at the Paradise Garage was designed by sound engineer Richard Long and Al Firestein. With Richard Long being the lead designer credited with the iconic system, they developed a custom high-fidelity system where the room was built around the sound rather than the other way around. Wow.
Yeah. And also Richard Long did Zanzibar. Richard Long did Club 88.
Now,
I was there when you put the system in Club 88.
Let me tell you. So, from East Orange, Club 88, 1986, 87, 88, 89, that was home right there.
Well, I used to work at Club 88. Before I became the producer, I used to work at Club 88.
What?
Yeah,
I was at college night.
No, I didn't work on college nights.
Okay. College night was on Thursday.
Yeah, I work mainly on like Friday, Saturdays. But before college night, there was like an after work thing, on Thursdays they used to do.
Okay.
That's how I started at Club 88.
Nice.
And
I want to send some shout out right fast. Jazzy B, Kevin O. I got to shout them out because they was DJs at Club 88 on the regular.
Yeah. Well, also the main DJs at Club 88 was Stephon Johnson, and DJ Burt.
Right.
Okay. Those were the two main DJs. And that's where I met Ace Mungeon. I met him at Club 88.
Now, Club 88, it was a Lincoln Motel right there, just like the Zanzibar.
That's right, because it's owned by the same people. They're owned by Burger Corporation. One brother ran, Bruce Berger, he ran Club 88 and the one of these stars. And Miles Berger ran the one in Newark.
Wow.
So that's how they they did it. And then they had their father, Saul Berger, who was over both of them.
Wow.
So, I'm very familiar with that whole.
That's history right there. That's some very special history for me. Like, that's that time of your life, 17, 18, 19, college years, graduating from high school, coming to adulthood. And, like I say, when you're younger, you're hearing the stories, but, you don't really get access because you're too young. And as you get access, and it kind of shapes who you are through the rest of your life. So many friends that I've made, in the club setting, in the dance setting, as a dancer. I said the gateway to the industry for me was as a background dancer. Right. And, that was, East Orange, Newark, New York City, up and down the East Coast, DC, Howard's Homecoming. Like, dance music is extremely important. Now, hip hop is its own thing, quote unquote, because we talk about it.
I want to ask you a question. You being from East Orange, did you know Kyle Nordal?
Kyle
Nordal.
I'm probably by face.
They had a group called Safe House on South Clinton Street. That was me and Guy's studio. That his brother, after Guy passed away and everything, his brother took over. I thought you would know Kyle because you and Kyle.
So it's South Clinton.
South Clinton, yeah, 411 South Clinton.
Right alongside 280.
No. We was on the other end. We was in between Rhode Island and Tremont. Okay,
you got the other end towards North Vailsburg.
Yeah. We was over there. That's where and down the street from us, Wycliffe and was down the street. Going towards Central Avenue.
Central Avenue, yeah, Booker Basement.
Yeah. And
do you know Hassan Sharif?
Not offhand.
Okay.
But I was probably older than him. So
yeah, definitely. Hassan's what my age.
Right.
I'm 56.
Right.
So, I'm trying to get to a good transition.
Go ahead.
Because when I hit you on the line.
Oh yeah, about the whole Jersey and Chicago thing.
Right, and disco being the root, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But when you talk about Larry Levan and Frankie Knuckles, and T. Scott and these other DJs who were spinning dance music, and then Frankie Knuckles being credited with bringing it or creating it in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, when I hear Chicago dance music, it sounds so familiar to me.
Okay, let me tell you what I know about that, because I was there. So a lot of people, they're going to tell you the history, and they're going to say this, and they're going to say that, but they wasn't there. Okay, mm-hmm. I was there. I was sitting and watching history. Okay, the way everything happened was, okay, there was like the main four DJs, which was Larry Levan, Larry Patterson, at the time, T. Scott, and Frankie Knuckles. Those four. they all, played at the clubs and everything. Now, Larry Patterson, and Larry Levan, they both had their own clubs. Larry Levan had Zanzibar. Larry Levan had the Garage, and Larry Patterson had Zanzibar. T. Scott had Better Days, but he also was at Zanzibar. Frankie Knuckles was the only one that really didn't have a club, right? So what happened was, when they opened up the Warehouse in Chicago, Larry Levan went out there and opened the Warehouse up. He was a DJ, and they loved Larry and stuff. They tried to get Larry to become the DJ there, and so on. But he was like, nah, I'm not leaving the Garage. I'm in New York. Why would I come all the way to Chicago? He wasn't going to do that. But he said, look, I got my boy. Y'all send my boy out there. And what he did was Frankie Knuckles. Mm-hmm. Frankie Knuckles from the Bronx, a DJ from here. He went out there, and what happened was, like, remember I was telling you about the quarter-inch reel-to-reels?
Yep.
When we would give Larry Patterson and Larry Levan the quarter-inch reels, they would make copies of that and send it to Frankie in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And Frankie would have the same quarter-inch reels, like the Release the Tension, all the stuff that Backroom did, some stuff that Smack did, some stuff that we did. He had the same quarter-inch reels, and he would play them in Chicago. So them guys in Chicago would hear the stuff that we did, mm-hmm. and then they would emulate some of the stuff that we did. Mm-hmm. Like the person that started this whole dance music underground club scene was Boy Jarvis. He's the unsung father of that whole. Because remember, Release the Tension by Colonel Abrams, the one that the demo one that everybody used to love and everything. Boy Jarvis did that record. Okay, and Boy was the one that started this whole thing. He don't get the credit that he should have gotten. Rest in peace. But it was Boyd that started this whole thing off. Okay? And like I said, the Chicago guys, they heard all the stuff that we did. And to be honest with you, we predate them. We was before them guys. Mm-hmm. But they like I said, Frankie Knuckles, like they start bringing their own stuff to Frankie, and then that's how they got on. But like I said, I tell people I've never done a house record in my life because I don't do house music. That's what them guys in Chicago do. Okay?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain the difference for us.
The difference is, to be honest with you, it's the same music. It's just that it's like this. The reason why house music more than garage music or Zanzibar music is because when it became popular, the people from the UK branded it. They branded it. All right. It's because house, like one of the biggest records was Marshall Jefferson's "Gotta Have House."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Absolutely.
So that gave them a name to brand it. So that's how they branded it, and it stuck, so on and so on. So then anything with 4 on the floor, up over 120 BPMs, became a house song by default.
Interesting, because for us, my generation, I'm talking about, when I was 11, 12, 13, 14, club music was house music.
Exactly.
It was music because the disco thing, like, people weren't going to discos, people go to house parties, people go to barbecues, people go to basement parties, and this is the music we played there. So like I said, when you hear a Marshall Jefferson, when you hear Robert Owens, we hear 10 City, when you hear Liz Torres, that's the same stuff we've been listening to for the last 10, 12 years.
But then when you also hear Jamanda,
oh my God.
Jamanda, when you hear Adiva, when you hear you know, some of those like they're Jersey, you know, Jersey bred and born artists. KY's.
Oh, right.
You know,
my brother.
Yeah, I was just talking to him today.
Yeah, did you tell him that we was doing this?
I forgot to tell him. I forgot to tell Kevin. But yeah.
You know, he's been through the house for Thanksgiving, the whole 9.
Yeah, because what happened was he heard the new record I did, and he called me up. Was like, "Yo, man, I love this record that you did." You know, and but like I said, there's a lot of us that was doing that did these records. Like for instance, right, a person that doesn't get his due in this music is Timmy Regisford.
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't get to do that. You know, of being him and Boyd, were the main catalyst of this music growing, the club music growing to what it is. And I met Boyd when this group Visual came through Club 88. And at the time I was like the assistant manager of Club 88. And I was, you know, like, you know, talking to Boyd and me and got, you know, real tight and everything. So, you know, but like I said, you know, what yeah, exactly. That's it right there. Boy did that record.
Day by day, got to get out and find a better way. The pressure wearing my patience thin, searching for a way to let the sun shine, yeah. All my life I've been locked inside this tension, oh.
I don't get it.
That's Boyd and Timmy. They did that record. That's what started everything. That record right there.
That was Boyd and Timmy?
Boyd and Timmy with Colonel Abrams. They started that. They did that record, right? And from that record, that's where everything started from. Everybody. Okay, I'm gonna tell you the 3 main people that started this whole genre was Boyd, Timmy, and also Paul Simpson. Know who Paul Simpson is, right?
No, I think I probably do, but hit me. What is it?
Paul Simpson did Serious Intentions.
Oh, see, come on, what are we talking about? And where's he from?
Boy, he's from New York, Queens. Okay, Paul Simpson and Winston Jones. Okay, those cats, you know, them guys are the ones that really started this. Okay, and they don't get to do in the credit that they should get. You know, I came after those guys. I came after Boyd, Timmy, Paul, Winston Jones. Okay, so you know, and then you know, like when we did I Need Somebody, we had Marshall come in and just do a mix. But
Marshall
Jefferson.
Yeah.
But he didn't do any changes or change anything on the record. He just came and did some fader moves. That's it. You know, and you know, like you know, like I said, the people that really did the records don't get the credit. Like my partner, you ever heard Derek Jenkins? That's my partner now. That's when he did the Jamanda records.
Yeah, see,
God love him.
I heard of him. I heard of him.
Yeah.
I want to send a rest in peace to Ronald Burrell. Big shout out to the.
Oh
Burrell.
yes, that was my dude, man. That was him and his brother. I feel so bad for him.
No, yeah, you know, Ronald produced our third single off that first album, and he produced the title track, Station Identification. Like, so yeah, like that's big right there.
See, Ronald was more like in the production vein more like us because he's a musician. Him and his brother, they were musicians. They weren't DJs. They could play instruments, and like now you got all these DJs, producers. They don't know a C major from a B minor. They don't know the theory of music, and to me that dumbed down the music a lot. But like I said, Ronald Burrell, I feel so bad for my man because I got a text with him on my phone from recently, a couple weeks ago.
No, we had spoken briefly leading up to it and follow each other on Facebook. I actually did a record with him a few years ago, a house record. I thought, put some bars on there, and he's been struggling. He was struggling with that disease for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and it's a huge loss. A huge loss.
Like I said, I feel so bad for his family, for his children, and especially Reggie.
Reggie, yeah.
That's his twin brother. They came into the world together, and Ronald Burrell has always been a really down to earth, nice guy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I really feel bad that he's not here anymore.
Yeah. Yes. But back to Chicago. Man, the Chicago sound is phenomenal. And there's no sleeping on the production.
No, it's like this. Like you take, for instance,
Chicago.
You take for instance guys like Steve Hurley. Great producer. Because like I said, he did the Jamanda record. He remixed that record. Got Love for You. Phenomenal. I'm not taking away that them guys didn't have talent, which they did. There's plenty of talent in Chicago. But what I'm saying is like this. They got everything got named house that was 4 on the floor, and Jersey got swept up in that because the guys from the UK coming over and saying, yes, this is house. And we did, so they named everything house. Now, house music has evolved. It's not what it was. It's EDM music now.
EDM music. So even when we look at disco, right? To me, it all stems from disco.
That's
at the end of the day. Right?
That's right.
And it grows and matures, and disco was international. It wasn't relegated to one region, though there are always regional sounds. Well, it should be, I think.
But see, this is the thing. They tried to, the rock guys and people that was anti-disco, they tried to kill it, right? Because to be honest with you, when they did the disco duck thing, that's when it jumped the shark. So to say, because then everybody started doing it, and it became, But then when you go back and you listen to some of the songs from back then, there was some great records. Like for instance, right, one of the greatest so-called disco songs I've ever heard was "Relight My Fire."
Yeah, I listen to that all the time.
That's a masterpiece.
A masterpiece.
That record is art.
That takes you through so many emotions, ups and downs. I love that record. Wait a minute, who's the woman on the background vocals? Lolita Holloway. That's what it is. Lolita Holloway.
See, this is the thing. Dan Hartman leads the whole record up until when Lolita Holloway comes in. It takes it to a whole nother level. It went from here all the way up to here. Okay, but that was the art of dance music, right? You take, for instance, Sylvester, Over and Over. You ever heard that song? Over and Over by Sylvester. It's a live recording of Sylvester, and it's a classic. It's a masterpiece. Okay, live. It was a live recording that they made, and Ashford Simpson wrote that record. Over and Over. Yeah. Like there's a lot of them. Like I used to go down to Zanzibar and sit in the corner and just listen to those records, you know, because those records sounded so great because of the way they were recorded and how they were recorded. You know, you don't get that, you know, today.
Well, while you're right there with it, in terms of technology and what that's done, you talk about the dumbing down of music and where we are. You know, how do you maintain your love for the art form when you know you got to use dumbed down techniques?
Well, this is the thing. It's got to the point now where I could be more artistic again, where I don't have to dumb down a lot of stuff that I do. You know, like I could play real bass, real guitars. You know, a lot of stuff is coming back because, you know, that was missing in a lot of music today because it got so, you know, like reduced down. Like it was like our music became like fractured. When they used to tell you in school, reduce it down to the lowest common denominator. That's what we did to our music. So we took the soul out of it. We took the creativeness out. We took the, you know, just so that we could sell more records. Now, like if you listen to the record that we did, that me and my boy Calvin Gaines did, right? It's for this group called Sound Control, which we hope will flourish into the next to a modern day CNC music factory, because we got mad singles on this group, like it's crazy. The singles that we're gonna have on this group.
Anyway, well, can we listen to it?
Yeah, go ahead. It just came out today.
I can't help but to move my feet. Shakes my collarbone. It's breaking the house, that deep bass tone. Something's wrong. Something's got me moving. Can't keep my lips. Something's wrong. Spiritually alluding to it like a proper training for a marathon beat. I'll prove it. Can you feel it? Feel it move you? Can't help it. What it do to you? Does it make your body move? Feel it. Don't want it to ever leave. Can't live without it. It's precious and always wants to give. Don't doubt it. Raise my hands to the sky. Feels like heaven. I can't lie. And jump around a little sprinkle of heaven. This music is like heaven, like heaven. It's gonna shake the soul. Peace and love, and everything.
So, how this come together, bro?
Yeah.
So how this come together, bro? Something's wrong.
How did that come together?
How that come together?
Yeah, what happened was I did the track right here at my here at my home, and I did the track and I sent it over to Calvin, my partner Calvin Gaines. Now Calvin, he has a history because he did Destiny Child's first record, No.
Mm.
He wrote and produced that. He also did songs on Destiny Child Survivor. He did songs on Brandy, Joe, and he also did Paparazzi on Lady Gaga.
Wow.
Okay, so that's my boy. Me and Cal go back to being teenagers. That's how far back we go. He's a musician. Yeah, he's a musician just like myself, and he comes from a musical family. He's from East Orange, New Jersey.
Go Jersey.
Right. So anyway, so I sent the track to Cal. Cal wrote the top line, and then we brought somebody in to sing it and everything, and then I finished it by I did the mix here. I mixed it and mastered it.
Mm. Yeah, that's a feel good song, very feel good. But it says something's wrong. What we're saying is something's wrong. So it's like considering everything that's going on right now, it's like perfect timing in a lot of ways.
But the thing is that we wanted to, even though it's something wrong, what we wanted to do was, like I said, dance music has to evolve. Yeah. And the things that this is what it evolved into. Mm-hmm. Okay, like you take, for instance, I can't do the same type of songs I did 20 years ago and doing today. It's not going to work. Mm-hmm. So you have to evolve with this. Like, for instance, I'm constantly on YouTube, on different places, learning new techniques, how mixing new songs, finding new sounds.
So in terms of the AI phase, I see the visuals in the video is definitely AI.
Yeah. We that's how we see. This is the thing. Now it's hard to put out a record or song without having visuals.
No, that's right.
So we partner up with this guy who does visuals. His name is Rob Greer, and we got him to do the visuals to this, so that when we put the record out, we have the visuals. Like every record that we put out, we're gonna have a new record coming out in December, which would probably either be a song called Floating or a song called Freak Show. That's in that same vein, right? Yeah.
So are these each of these individual singles are part of a whole project, or you just drop the joints?
It's part of Sound Control.
Okay, Sound Control.
Yeah, they'll all be part of Sound Control. And
but there's is there an LP, an album, or is it just Sound Control is just dropping joints?
It will be. It's eventually going to be an album after the first of the year. Mm-hmm. But right now we're just dropping singles. We're being consistent with singles with this group and everything. And it's going to consist of three guys, three girls. They all sing and play instruments. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a very self-contained unit, and we're gearing them so that they could go live. They can play to festivals and stuff like that, and and bring live music back, with good vocals and stuff like that. So it's like I said, it's gonna be a modern day CNC music factory.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
And
I love,
like I said,
I love Something's Wrong. I would play it all day.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you wait till you hear the other records.
Oh, well, I can't wait.
The other records are like, like people, like I've played it for other people like Ce Ce Rogers and all of them. And they like, why can't I have that record?
Legend. Ce Ce Rogers.
Yeah, we're gonna probably work on the song. Me and Calvin gonna probably work on a song with Ce Ce.
Oh, beautiful.
In this genre of music, we're gonna probably do this genre of music with Ce Ce.
Wow.
And
it's just like I said, Ce Ce Rogers, that takes me back to Club 88.
Yeah, well, me and Ce Ce go back. We did he co-produced a record on Crimes Affair with me.
Okay.
Called I'll Do Anything. And he did that record with me and stuff like that. And for this compilation album I did on SBK Records. And yeah. Me and Ce Ce go way back. We go like I go way back with a lot of these, like Dave Morales, Ce Ce Rogers, Louis Vega, all these cats. Like we go way back.
Yeah, he's like coming up in high school, junior high school. These names are larger than life. David Morales, even Tony Humphries, T. Scott, Larry Levan, Frankie Knuckles. These are like legends, and this is like. In the late 80s, these names are legendary.
Yeah. And I've been in the room with
Timmy Regisford.
Yep, I've been in the room with all of these guys. Boy Jarvis. I'll never forget, Boy called me up one day and said, Cedric, somebody redid your record over? I said, what record? He said, I need somebody. I said, yeah? He said, yeah. He said, some group in England redid it over. And so, I scoured the internet and found it, and this group called Loveland. They redid the record over again and sound really good. I was like, wow, they redid my record over again.
Nice.
But yeah, it's like all those guys that I named, like we all started back in like Paul Simpson. I'm doing this project with Paul right now. But you remember Chanel? One Man?
Yep.
We doing a project. I'm doing a project with him. He's doing an album on her, and I contribute a couple songs.
Hold on.
And she does all her vocals with me. She loves me. She loves doing vocals with me because I'm a vocal producer. Yep, that's Chanel. No, she's on Me Stars too, right?
With East Orange, New Jersey, first greatness. We just keep saying names, and he's from East Orange too. Yeah, he's from East Orange too.
You know Roland Clark?
That's my boy. I've known him since I was a kid.
If you know Roland, you got to know him. You ever heard of Michael Moog?
Say again?
You ever heard of Michael Moog?
Michael Moog?
Yeah. That's Calvin. That's Calvin Gaines' brother, Philip Gaines, but he goes by Michael Moog. But Roland and Calvin and all them, they all came up together, together, and so like for instance, I
describe Philip to me.
Tall, light skin, tall, light skin, lanky, But him and Roland hung out. They was always together.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the Gaines. Yeah. You gotta know the Gaines.
Yeah, the Gaines. Yeah, the whole family.
Yeah, the whole family.
They used to do concerts at Orange Park.
Yep.
Yeah. Philip.
Yep, Philip.
Yeah,
yep.
I know
there
Philip.
You go.
I know Philip. Well, he's not that tall.
No, he's not that tall. He's not taller than me.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. Yeah, I know Philip. Matter of fact, I've known Philip for a long time. That's the big bro, actually.
Of course. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You cannot live in East Orange and not know Philip.
Yeah, nah. They say Roland. Oh, yeah, Philip. Yeah, I'm bugging.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually.
But like I said, it's so much.
Vincent Herbert.
Vincent Herbert. You know, I know Vincent since he was 15 years old.
Yeah, I've known Vincent about that long.
Yeah, when he first, because you know, like I know, like I worked with his brother and Blaze and Kevin Hedge and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my partner Guy gave Kevin his first engineering job at Ears, working on Third World and Grandmaster Flash.
Wow, crazy.
And Kevin's like a little brother to me. You know.
Yeah.
So you know, like I know you probably know like Moving Records going up there.
Of course, Abby. Yeah.
Abby. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, Abby. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little history. Abby. Keisha Jenkins' record was originally going to come out on Moving Records.
Ah, okay.
Because what happened was, Abby gave me and Guy the money to go in the studio to cut the record.
Wow.
And we said if we didn't get a deal, we would we'll give it to Abby. We let her put it on Moving Records. But
Moving Records was a very important record shop on Central Avenue between South Harrison and Halsted.
Yeah, which started out as a skate store first.
Really? That was the logo.
Yep.
It was a
skate store. And then what happened was a skate store, and they slowly started selling records in there as they was, you know, and then that's how it became a record store. Moved the skates out.
I didn't know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because skating was something that was real big in that area too. I used to go to
Exactly.
My mom used to have me in Twin City when I was like 4 years old.
Exactly. Bro. Yeah. So and everybody used to go there. Right. Everybody used to go there and get their skates done at Moving.
Wow.
And so on and so on. But I knew somebody was gonna be on if we didn't get a deal for it, we was gonna put it on Moving Records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been actually seeing a lot of Abby. There was some event that she attended, and there was some video or some dance music celebration that happened recently, and she was there. And then a video popped on my feed. It was something that happened probably like in the early 90s, some type of tribute event. And she was there talking then. And I was like, okay, it's good to see Abby.
This is the thing about Abby. One of the things that I didn't like that Abby did was she omitted a lot of the history, like people that was instrumental in the early development of this music, like myself, my partner Guy. She just omitted us, like, you know.
Wow.
Just talking. I'm like, yo, understand something. I was the first one to get a major act on when I did Hunter Hayes. I got him on 4th and Broadway. I was the first one around here to do that. Okay, nobody else had an act on a major independent. I did Are You With It with Hunter Hayes, and this time they was on 4th and Broadway. And Abby just omitted all that stuff that we did.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. You gotta understand something. People tell history the way they see it. It's like look at the word, his story. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of people omit a lot of things. And I'm not saying this on purpose, but things get omitted. That's why myself, Derek Jenkins, along with a few other people, we're getting ready to do this documentary on dance music in Jersey, how it all started.
Well, in all fairness, everybody, and I mean everybody, could use a refresher course.
Yeah.
Because, I ain't going to say, people look at me as the authority on hip hop, and I learn something new every day.
Yeah, like I remember when I first seen my first hip hop. I was first exposed to hip hop.
When was this?
It was 1970. 76, 77. My mother, we went over to some church event over in Harlem. Me, my mother, and her husband, and we went to some church event. And after the church event, they held that the dinner or whatever at Harlem World. Right? So I'm in Harlem World, and this guy comes on and starts playing this hip hop music. And I'm looking up in the booth like, what the hell is that? It was Love Buck Starsky, just playing stuff, and everything. And it was my first, invitation, to hip hop. And I was like, whoa, this is some new shit right here.
Yeah.
And, and it's like, yeah. And that's how that's when I first heard hip hop.
Right, but it at that time it wasn't called hip hop though.
No, it wasn't called hip hop. It was something else.
Just some new shit niggas.
Yeah, we didn't know what to call it. I just knew that it was something new that I never heard before. Guy rapping over a beat, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Right. See, I love these types of conversation because just off the cuff, it exposes something out of nothing.
Yeah.
How just being in the creative space allows us to create things that we're not even thinking of. Like you said, it wasn't called hip hop when people were doing it. It's just what we were doing that was new in a certain space, and then over time we develop it into being a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right.
Same way with dance music.
Right. But like I said, everything has to evolve. If it doesn't evolve and it stays stagnant, it's going to be stale and it's never going to go nowhere. Like we have to evolve. We have to be better than what we was yesterday. Right. So therefore, the music somehow has to evolve. Like a lot of people, they put down EDM and stuff like that, but you got to understand something. EDM is going places where soulful dance and soulful house records can't go. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, and I think there is a space for everything.
Yeah, it is.
However,
let me say this. Okay? Let me say this.
Once the dominant society figures out how to keep jokers trapped, we trapped.
Yeah. Let me say this. Okay. I don't know if you can remember this, but at one point, dance music and our music was dominant on the radio.
Yeah.
With Frankie Crocker and all them cats were on the radio, right?
Black radio, yeah.
Right. It was, you would hear a Jersey dance record like a Diva or this record or that record on rotation.
Right.
No more. Because it's looked down on now. Those records are not, they're not considered commercial or viable anymore. So therefore they're relegated to late night after 12 o'clock on BLS or whatever, on the mixed master shows or whatever. So
because music is digested differently, not just for dance music but for all music, right? So in terms of record sales, very few people, if you're not Taylor Swift, Beyonce, you're not selling records, right? It's finding neat, like even the Drakes, the Kendricks, all bot farming, all those weren't real streams. It's like, the newer generation is now rejecting what's been rocking the last 10 years. Like the newer generation, like, oh, y'all old school, right? At the same time, there's a resurgence of, like you said, live performances, real creative talent. Like it's the mainstream is kind of maxed out and people are coming back to more organic, more regional, more niche sounds, markets. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like coming back to that in a sense. There's a lot of pushback on the current state of rap music. It's the first time in 30 years, right? It's not a rap song in the top 40. There's a whole bunch of reasons why. It's not necessarily because people aren't making good rap records. However, the general consensus is there's no real good rap music out anymore. But people are going using the internet and finding other forms of music, then you look at it like, man, we talking about there's no good rap. What about this? What about that? Like there's a group called Coast Contra. Actually, the twins are sons of Razkaz, and everybody compares them to what the leaders of the new school felt like when they first came out back 30 years ago. These kids are super talented and represent lyrically the real hip hop. Their fan base is growing and getting bigger. You take an artist like Doechii, who's extremely popular, right? And she's very talented, got bars for days, skills for days, raps in the form of a traditional MC. Makes you feel like it's a new age MC light, right? So it's like, man, we're moving into a space where people want authenticity. However, because of technology and the way sounds sound, to me, it's so unfortunate that, like you say, live instrumentation, knowing the difference between notes and keys, knowing that, like, all of that matters for a real music listener who wants the authenticity. Like, will we ever get that back?
Yes and no. See, this is the thing. When I was coming up, when we was coming up, you could walk down East Orange, and every block you heard a band practicing. You heard people playing the instruments, bands, drummers, guitar players, keyboard players, bass players. You don't hear that no more because they took, first of all, they took music out of school. They, like you either was a football player, a basketball player, or you play music.
Yep.
One of the three, right? Now it's, like, it's not cool. These kids, you gotta understand something. We're living up, we're kids that are entitled. So therefore, they don't want to put the work in to learn how to play an instrument. To master an instrument, it takes hours and hours of practicing time to learn how to play an instrument. They don't have the patience for that. It's the black kids, the kids of color. They, now everybody wants to take the easy way out, be a DJ. So on and so on. Like I could not name how many hours I would sit in my room and practice playing the bass. Just practice hours till I fell asleep. They don't do that no more. And it takes skill to do it, and it takes determination and stuff like that, and discipline. They don't have that. Because, like I said, you're dealing with the T-ball generation, where somebody put the ball on the tee and then they hit it. Whereas when we grew up, we was playing with stick balls and as hard as it was, if you got a hit, you was the man.
Yeah.
So they made things so easy and dumbed it down so much that now, these kids, you give a kid an instrument, they look at you like, what am I supposed to do with this? Now, there are exceptions to the rules.
Thank you. I was going to say that because there are exceptions. There are plenty of exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, but there's not enough. Okay? There's not enough. There's not like I said, you used to have kids, they would get together and have their little bands and stuff like that. Every block had a band.
Yep. It's what playing music does for brain stimulation.
Yes.
Right. It's something that should be mandatory in every school. That your
child
don't want that. Must pick up an instrument.
Yeah, but see, and that's the way it was
for a certain amount of time. Yeah.
That's the way it was when I was coming up. Like you go to band music class and you have to pick up an instrument. Even if it wasn't little stupid readers or whatever, right? You had to pick up an instrument and learn some sort of theory. Now it's like it's not important. It's not something that these kids that they stress that a kid should do.
Well, yeah, that's totally our fault. If they ask you what's wrong with the kids, the answer is the adults always.
Exactly.
And
exactly. It is adults because if we don't set set a standard and set examples for them where they're going to get it from.
Right. Absolutely.
So therefore, you know, like one of the things that I would want to do, you know, if I'm so lucky, I would like to create a music school where we would teach these kids real instruments, how to play, how you know what theory is, you know, the treble clef, the bass clef, what's the sharp, what's the flat, stuff like that, simple stuff. Because I'm gonna tell you something, I'll never forget this, right? My mother, which I'm thankful for to this day, when I said I want to learn how to play bass, she said, "Okay, I'm gonna buy you a nice bass, right? But if I get you this bass, you gotta go to music class every Saturday." And I used to get on a bus from Orange and take two buses to get to Belleville to early Saturday mornings to do my music class with this guy named Duke Anderson.
Damn.
Right? And he would teach me all kind of theory and stuff like that. And I was like, and I used to get mad at my mother for making me go and get up early on a Saturday to go do these music lessons. But it paid off because one day this guy came and said to my band, said, "I want y'all to come and do a session for me." And he said, "Who in here can read music?" And I was the only one that could read music. So I went with him to the studio in New York. They put this chart in front of me, and it was the song. It was written by this guy with this strange ass name. And I was like, I'm like, damn, this guy, Luther Vandross. That's a strange name, like that, right? The song's written by him. So I did the song and everything, and I never forgot that name. So one day when his project came out, and I seen Luther Vandross.
Wow.
Like, yo, that's the guy I did this, you know, his song. You know, so, you know, but
what song was it? You remember?
Oh man, so man, I was like 18 years old, man. I was like, I can't remember that song. All I knew was like I remember his name at the top of the written by Luther Vandross.
Yeah. It's crazy. Listen, bro, it's been a wonderful conversation, man.
Same here, bro.
We've been, you know, talking about doing this for a few years.
Yeah, I know.
I finally got my act together. Finally got my act together, man. I love the song. Something's Wrong. Yo, one more time, tell people about that song, where they can find it, where they can get it. Let's promote that.
It's on all streaming platforms. It's Sound Control Music on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and please, if you can, do some TikTok videos of it, because that would help us out a lot. You know, stream it. You know, make comments. Go on YouTube. We have it on our YouTube channel. You know, it would really help us out if you guys just go and support the record.
Yeah. Shedrick Guy, Sound Control Music. We're gonna be looking for great things. That's why Luther Vandross. Yeah, I got the Soapbox Heroes. Then salute to y'all. Yeah, and we're gonna have you back, man, when it's time to drop that next single.
Oh yeah, next single is gonna be you're gonna love it, man. It's, you know, we're not deciding which one's gonna be the next single. It's, you know, but because I'm mixing 3 of them this weekend. Right.
Well, I'm sure, you know, they all gonna be fire, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
Yes, sir. All right, my guy.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
Literally, Shedrick Guy, my guy. Peace, man.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Salute.